What's up, club? My name is Zenyatta, and welcome back to another video about Overwatch 2. Today we're going to be talking about what is meta and what is not meta, how to counter the meta, and like what you should overall play around in the game. Disclaimer, this is before Kiriko comes out, so this might change when Kiriko comes out. Like, there's lots of speculation that Hog, for instance, is not that great right now, but it will become a very good hero when Kiriko does come out. So make sure to keep that in mind. This is not final. This is before Kiriko. If the meta changes drastically after Kiriko drops, I will make sure to do an uploaded tier list or updated tier list, and make sure to look out for that. First of all, we should start about talking about what is currently meta and why they're so good. And I'll start doing like the S tier, A tier heroes, and let's see like exactly like what you should be playing and what you shouldn't be playing. So, for instance, right now hard meta for tank is Zarya, Winston, and Diva. For DPS, let's see, it's most likely going to be, it's definitely going to be Genji. It's going to be Genji, Sombra, I'm looking for Sojourn. I don't see her. Oh, there she is. Sojourn, there we go. So we got Genji, Sombra, Sojourn, and we're going to throw in maybe Tracer. Well, Tracer's like an A tier hero, and then we're also going to throw in, where is Reaper? Reaper's A tier as well, and Soldier. So like those are like the 6 kind of like DPS meta picks. And then for supports, right now it's definitely going to be Zen, Lucio, and Ana, and Bap can be thrown in as an A tier hero as well, and so can Moira, because we'll explain why those heroes can be pretty viable in a second. But yeah, so like this is pretty much the basic meta hero pool currently. Like other heroes are pretty decent as well. Like Sigma's pretty decent, Urus is pretty decent, but like those heroes in comparison to these three, you don't want to be playing those. And same thing goes like Cass, like Soldier and I forget Ashe. Soldier and Ashe are just way better than Cassidy, and so is Sojourn. And then Widowmaker and Hanzo are not as good as Sojourn as well, because Sojourn can charge up a railgun shot and do one-shot headshots way faster and way more mobile than Hanzo and Widowmaker can do currently. And like I still think that Hanzo and Widowmaker are still very unfun to play against because of their one-shot potential, but Sojourn takes the cake because of her mobility, her like fast fire rate that charges her one-shot, and how quickly she gets her one-shots, and her ultimate is just insane. So first of all, we will start off like, why are they so good? Zarya is so good because she has lots of damage done, and she keeps her charge going. She will just beam everybody, and also because she counters a lot of the tanks as well. Like Zarya's beam will counter Diva instantly. Only times the Diva versus Zarya battle is won is if Diva has a high ground advantage where she can escape quickly, and then wait till Zarya is like anti and doesn't have bubbles, etc., and burst her down or try to. But if Zarya's high charge and Diva doesn't have a pocket, then Diva will get melted by Zarya. So that's why Zarya's so up there. Zarya also melts Sig, melts Hog, will melt Ryan Shield, melts Orisa, because Orisa doesn't have a shield no more. Melts Doomfist, melts Junker Queen, because Zarya can cleanse herself from Junker Queen's bleeding effect with her bubble. Ball's just an ult battery for him, or for her. So Zarya just kind of melts all the tanks, and the only way to really counter Zarya, unfortunately, in a tank 1v1 is to probably play Winston, because you have your bubble to protect you and to protect your team, and so you can still do that dive kind of gameplay to where you can try to kill the supports that are pocketing the Zarya with Winston, as long as you have the DPS to support that. So if you're not mirroring the Zarya, you probably want to play Winston, because all the other tanks pretty much get hard countered by Zarya. However, if your team is good enough to counter the Zarya with themselves, or the Zarya is bad enough, you can also play other heroes like Orisa or Sig, but that just depended on your team. Like I said, Winston's really good just for like the fact that I just mentioned, is that Winston is like the only tank that I think right now can really face up against a Zarya matchup. And he's also just really good paired with characters like Sombra, Genji, Reaper, and Tracer to dive the back line and take care of the supports that are pocketing the other tank or pocketing the DPS that are carrying. For instance, Sojourn and Ashe are really good with the Mercy, and Mercy is honestly not a really good support, but like if you have a DPS that's hard carrying with the Mercy pocket, this is why you need to switch to Winston or like the dive characters, so you can jump on the Mercy, kill the Mercy, and then you can kill the carry DPS. And Winston does that really effectively with the other 3 dive heroes, and Reaper has there's no CC anymore, so Reaper is also a very effective backline assassin. And, you know, Sombra can hack the Mercy from behind, shoot her a little bit. Mercy jumps out of position. Winston and the Genji can jump on the Mercy wherever she jumps. She dies instantly. Then you can focus the DPS that she's pocketing. And she doesn't have res anymore because she's dead. So there's that. Diva is really good too, because Diva is pretty much the best tank outside of the Zarya matchup, because Diva will melt Winston. Diva can eat Sigma damage. Diva can eat Roadhog Hook. Diva can eat Reinhardt Fire Strikes. Like pretty much all like the damage that other tanks do, Diva can eat. But that's not the only reason that she's very good, because she's one of the few tanks that have the high mobility to be able to peel for her team. So if you're not fragging out and killing someone with your DPS, then you're probably going to try to peel for your supports as much as you can. It's a lot harder to peel in this game now because it's only one tank, but Diva is like the one character that can peel if necessary, because she can help focus whatever is on your backline, like a Tracer or a Genji, and she has enough damage and smaller bullet spread to where she can actually burst those characters down. Along if your supports are competent enough to land a sleep dart or land an anti or land shots in general with BAP or Zen Discord, like anything like that, Diva is really good at trying to peel back for those characters. But if you have a Zarya against a Diva, the Zarya is most likely going to melt the Diva, so got to keep that in mind. So those are the three tanks heroes. So like the way to counter Diva is go Zarya, the way to counter Winston is to go Diva, and the way to counter Zarya is to go Winston. So it's kind of like a triangle of tanks. Like you play Diva to counter Winston, Winston to counter Zarya, and Zarya to counter Diva. And also another thing you can do is you can also just mirror the matchups. Like Zarya v Zarya is good, Winston versus Winston's good, and Diva versus Diva can be good. It's all map dependent as well, because you gotta think about how dive maps, you know, if like Watch Point Gibraltar, new bonding just got added back and stuff like that, that you most likely will be wanting to run a dive tank. So you're most likely going to be running a Diva or a Winston. So if the Winston's being annoying, switch to Diva to counter the Winston. And if the Diva's annoying, Winston also works against Diva, but if it's a high ground map, you're just going to have to mirror the Diva matchup most likely. And it's kind of the same thing with push maps too, is like for push maps or brawl maps, Zarya is going to still do better than Winston because Winston doesn't have the high ground advantage. So the Zarya v Zarya matchup is going to be better. A really good example of that is King's Row. King's Row is a really good map that you might want to mirror the Zarya v Zarya matchup, but the Zarya is fucking your team. All right, I'm out of breath. So for the next, we're going to talk about the DPS. These three DPS right here are the top DPS currently, and they are very, very, very broken, and they need a nerf soon. Genji has insane damage because they didn't nerf his damage or any of his abilities from Overwatch 1, where in Overwatch 1, there was a lot of stuns and CCs to counter him, but now that all those CCs and stuns are gone, Genji is just a plain out menace. Shurikens do 28 damage per Shuriken, so if you land all Shurikens, no headshots, I think it does around 84 damage. If you land headshots, it can one-shot you. Like you throw 3 Shurikens, headshot, and dash, it will literally one-shot you if you're 200 HP. So as a support, this is very frustrating because, like I said, there's no peel in the game anymore. So if a character like Genji does high amounts of damage, high mobility, and he has the passive where he moves faster after getting an elim, it's really hard for supports to do anything against him, which makes him very frustrating to play against. And that's kind of the same deal with Sombra, because Sombra can hack you while she's invisible, and it makes a character like Zenyatta very vulnerable, and characters like Mercy also very vulnerable, because then it opens up for a dive opportunity because they're hacked. So keep that in mind, that Sombra also does 50% more damage to you when you're hacked. So that's why like these two characters is very frustrating for supports. So the best way I can say to counter these two heroes is to go a character that can try to peel for yourself, or go Diva to try to help with your supports. Like I said, peeling as a tank is not as easy anymore. So if your tank can't peel for you as much as you'd like to as a support player, please do not blame your tank. They're trying their best, most likely. It's just a very hard situation for tanks to be in when there's less peel in the game. So if you're a support player, what you really want to do is actually have your DPS try to peel for you more than your tank will. So a really good DPS to peel for these two characters are Soldier, or anything that has high damage potential that'll make them TP out or dash out, which is also Sojourn. Sojourn has her one-shot headshot for one, and then if she's fully charged and lands the body shot, it does 120, I think. So Sojourn being in the game, being good, will help these two and keep in check if your Sojourn's good enough to be able to land their shots, so they have to dash out or they have to TP out. Another good character for that Soldier, because Soldier has consistent damage that will track the Genji and track the Sombra now, and the Helix Rocket, if they land it, will make them use their abilities out as well. I wouldn't say Ashe is good against these two characters, but Ashe can help compete with Sojourn, because if Ashe can two-shot the Sojourn before Sojourn can build her one-shot, then Ashe is a good matchup against that. Reaper is a really good matchup right now because the tank meta is what Reaper counters, and Tracer is good because she can die with Winston and Zarya, or Winston and Diva. So keep that in mind with the DPS. Like, these two DPS are the best in the game. This one is also really, really good. Probably, actually, I didn't think about it hard enough. I think Sojourn's actually the best in the game because she counters these two. And then Sojourn just counters everybody with her one shot. So she's pretty much the best DPS in the game. These two getting checked by Sojourn, and these two can also get checked by Soldier and really high damage, like Hanzo also. But why play Hanzo when you can play Sojourn? It's kind of the thought process. For supports, Zenyatta has his kick to try to kick them back, but you got to remember Genji and Sombra have high damage potential, and Sombra can shoot you from at a distance, so you got to keep that in mind as Zenyatta. His Discord is still a very viable thing to use because Discord, again, melts down tanks or melts down really annoying DPS like Reaper. And can also help heal for, so if you actually have someone who peels for you, discording whatever flanker you're needing to peel for is also really helpful to help whatever DPS is trying to kill them for you. Lucio is really good because he speeds around Zarya, and speed boost is really, really good for faster movement to make things harder to kill you because it's harder to track when you're moving faster. Ana has really high healing potential, and her nano is really good for Zarya, Winston, and Genji. And Sojourn, her ultimate's really, really good. The sleep dart's also a self-peel tool, so you can peel for yourself if there's any divers on you. You only have one of them, and it's only every 15 seconds, so keep that in mind that when you use your sleep dart, you need to be very smart about it. Your anti also helps peel for you because it'll help you heal yourself, and it'll anti the enemy targets diving on you or enemy in general, so it's easier to kill them. Just keep in mind that anti is a very, very useful tool to counter Zarya, but you have to time it right. The best way to counter Zarya is actually hack an anti, because if you see Zarya use both of her bubbles, hack her and then anti her, because she can't bubble herself because she doesn't have bubble, and if she's hacked, you can burst her down faster as Sombra, and the anti makes it so that she can get pocket healed, and that's like the best way to counter Zarya right now. And then Moira is really good when your team doesn't really do anything for you, because Moira is kind of self-sustained where you can fade out, and after you fade out, you're most likely going to be able to regen your health. And she also does pretty good damage and lots of healing. She's really good paired with Zarya as well. And Bap is also really good because he just has high damage output, and his lamp is a very, very good self-peel mechanism. His lamp is cheap because you're invulnerable, but it is a very, very good self-peel tool, and the amount of damage that Bap can do and AoE healing he can do, and his ultimate that puts out an insane amount of damage is a really good thing to do. Ana is just better because it's more skilled playing Ana, because you landing her abilities will change the fights way more than Bap's abilities will. Anti changes fights, Sleep Dart changes fights, and her Nano is insanely good for the meta characters currently. But Bap is also a very safe pick if you have Zarya or a tank that can get healed by Bap. Trying to heal Winston or Diva as a Bap can be pretty difficult, which is also why Ana is really good. High mobility characters are easier to heal with Ana than Bap. So yeah, I guess that kind of covers like the meta and like what to switch for it. So Zarya, if you're getting beamed by Zarya, you probably want to switch Winston. Near Zarya, go Ana, Sombra, hack Anti, or you can go Reaper to burst her down. Winston's pretty obvious. Just go Diva Reaper, burst her down, or burst him down. Diva, go Zarya, Sombra, Sojourn, and Moira, and because she can't eat Moira or can't eat Zarya. Discord's really important, melting Diva, and then you can hack her. She can't DM for a second half if you're hacking her. Genji to counter Genji, Winston, Zarya, really good. Discord's really good if you don't get beamed by the fucking Genji. If you're good enough Zenyatta, you can kick him away and you can kill him. But otherwise, Moira and Bap are really good picks against the Genji. Sombra's tricky. Best way to go Sombra, best thing to go against Sombra is high burst damage like Sojourn. Like sleeping her if you can before you get hacked. Fading as Moira because you can fade away from her hopefully before she can melt you down. But yeah, as a tank, you probably want to go Diva or Zarya just to beam around or shoot shotguns around to try to get whatever invis. And Diva's really good, so you can try to peel for your supports. Sombra and Diva kind of like counter each other. Sojourn. Honestly, the best thing to go against Sojourn is just a dive on her. Try to before she fades away. Sojourn v Sojourn matchup is really good. Soldier can also compete with Sojourn a little bit if you can have better aim than their Sojourn. But if Sojourn gets her one shot and you're on Soldier, you're going to get countered by her. Keep that in mind. Reaper's really good. Best thing to counter Reaper is Diva, because you can eat his damage while your teammates are shooting at him. And Zen, so your team can burst him down. And Sojourn, because Sojourn can, I think, also one-shot Reaper. At full charge. Counter Tracer, just go Diva, or Soldier, or Sojourn. Ashe is really good just to compete with Sojourn's one shot, but otherwise I would just play Sojourn. That's why Ashe is an A tier, so you really don't need to worry about countering her. You do want to counter her though, because she's getting pocketed by Mercy. Like I said, go Sombra, Genji, Winston, you know, hack the Mercy, and then dive the Mercy with your second dive DPS after she flies away. Kill her, then kill the Ashe. Soldiers has high mobility, so you probably want to dive him or burst him down. Sojourn, Genji, and these two will counter him pretty well. Baptiste, pretty much just like with the other ones, you know, just dive him or try to make sure his sightlines are off. Make sure to call it to your team when he uses his lamp, because when he uses his lamp, he's vulnerable because he doesn't have a self-peel tool anymore. And for Moira, honestly, just wait till she fades, then pretty much anything counters her. As long as you catch her out of position after she uses fade, anything out of these characters can burst her down or sleep her or whatever. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about anything more about the meta, make sure to message me or leave a comment down below, and I'll try to answer your comment. Let me know, do you agree with the meta? Do you agree that what I said counters these meta heroes? If not, you can explain to me in the comments, and I'll try to be open-minded and listen to your viewpoint. But I hope this helped you guys explain what's meta, what to play. But don't let this tier list not let you play your favorite character, because I'm a Sigma player and I play a lot of Sigma still, even though Sigma's not good against Zarya. I'm actually going to make a video explaining how Sig can play against Zarya properly to try and help. Again, a really good Zarya will still melt you on Sigma, but you can probably have tips to try to outplay a Sigma or outplay a Zarya Sigma. But yeah, so don't let this tier list sway you to play your favorite hero. If you're good enough at your hero, you will carry as your hero no matter what. Any hero is viable for the most part. It's just that these heroes are more viable than the other ones. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And again, come follow my Twitch if you want to come say hi to me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Zanyard. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.